Step into a world where history lives on every page at the Florida Antiquarian Book Fair, the oldest and largest event of its kind in the Southeast. Join us March 7th and 8th, 2026, at the Coliseum in downtown St. Petersburg, and discover rare books, treasured manuscripts, and timeless stories waiting to be found. Visit FloridaAntiquarianBookFair.com for details, and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for exclusive updates. Florida Antiquarian Book Fair. Let freedom read.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Rare Book Cafe, the Coffee Break Edition. I'm Linn with the Ridge Books in Calhoun, Georgia, and with me today is my co-host, Richard Mori of Mori Rare Books in Nashua, New Hampshire, waving to the camera, and our special guest today, another Richard, Richard Oates of Blind Horse Books, and all three of us are going to be participating in two upcoming book fairs. The Fine Book Fairs in Atlanta, the weekend of February 28th and March the 1st at Oglethorpe University, and the Florida Book Fair the following weekend in St. Petersburg at the Coliseum. So one thing we're going to talk about today are some of the things that we're bringing and see where it goes from there. So
good morning, Lee.
Good morning, Richard.
It's good to see you again. And good morning, Richard. It's good to have you.
Good morning, Lee. Good morning, Richard.
It's good to see you again. And we just saw each other Philadelphia, I believe.
Yes. It was cold, just like it has been here in Florida.
And it's been cold.
I actually understand the cold in Florida. I am here.
Yes.
I had a broken water pipe this week.
Oh, goodness.
Well, I will tell you this, though. It is an absolutely gorgeous day here today. The sun is shining. It was 30-some degrees last night, but it's 70 degrees outside right now. So for all the people up north, this is the place to be.
It will warm up, we promise you.
Yes.
Yes, and I will be there in a few weeks. So, well, I know Richard, Mori, and I have had an opportunity to tell some of the things that we are planning to bring to both shows. So let's start with Professor Richard and see what he might be like to share with us that he's packing up for these shows.
Well, I don't think we have 5 or 6 hours to go through all the material.
No, we don't.
I know. So I picked
you get 30 seconds, so let's not.
Okay. Well, I picked a couple of the things I most recently cataloged, and the theme at the Florida Book Fair is Let Freedom Ring. And so I picked a book that had to literally be smuggled into existence. And it's Meyer Levin's In Search. And it's probably not a common book to many readers, but he submitted this to every major publishing house in the United States, and it was rejected because it told a too Jewish view of the Holocaust. And Ben Rayburn, who was the publisher of Horizon Books, a leading small press in New York City, who brought many new poets and writers into uh, America, took a chance, bankrolled this book. Uh, Meyer Levin had it published privately in Paris on a printing press and was selling it out of a suitcase when this book was published. And it has an inscription, and it says, I'm not reading it, but to Ben Rayburn, a finer publisher than uh, Meyer Levin.
Yeah.
And it's probably tough to read there on the camera, but it was an inside joke because Levin had published it and was selling out of a suitcase, and this became the book. And what really makes this book special is it comes with a whole archive from the publisher. One of the things Ben Rayburn did was he would save and add to the book the different articles that came out. And during this time, Levin was really involved in a controversy over the Diary of Anne Frank. He brought that story, that book, to America and to the press, and was a force behind it being published. And there was a Broadway play of the book being performed in New York City, and he got into a huge controversial through editorials in the newspapers about the play because he thought they had dumbed it down and weren't really telling the story and the impact that it actually could have had. And so it's something that I found, and as someone who likes history and likes books, it was just fascinating to me.
So, Professor Oates, I'll call you Professor Oates only to keep the distinction of two Richards in the same conversation.
Okay.
Here. So but and you are actually a professor, yes, no?
Well, I was an educator for a lot of years.
Okay, so you've earned some title there.
Some title.
Some
I've been called other things, but
of course, if you've raised kids, that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
But anyways, that book touches upon actually a lot of social issues that we are experiencing today. It it is difficult not to bring to the forefront of the mind what's happening in Minnesota, and certainly this story circulating about bookstores and book dealers and publishers as to how they're impacting those events and supporting those events, and how they've even been impacted themselves by those events.
Well, yes, it's so often people in the book world, not just sellers, but people in the book world, are very conscious and very socially aware. There's a bookstore in Minneapolis, Moon Palace Books, run by Greg Ketter, and they've been staying open late. They've been providing a place for people to come and get out of the cold. They've been supplying whistles, hot drinks, probably food also.
The stores themselves have become safe havens. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sanctuaries.
Yeah.
During this time, and there's this book that I just bought, In Search. It was a book. It wasn't banned, but it was. Nobody wanted to publish it. Nobody wanted to touch it. Nobody wanted to handle it because the subject matter, just a few years after the end of World War II, was about the Holocaust. And Levin was a journalist, a correspondent. He was one of the first to enter the concentration camps. And he was telling the story unvarnished. And that's some of the issues we're having now, specifically in Minneapolis, is having an unvarnished story come out. And it's up to the writers, the book people, the journalists, who are sometimes being suppressed in being able to tell their story. And people like us who are book dealers, we're trying to keep the past alive to remind people of what happened before, and maybe it could happen again.
And what this week has happened with journalists being arrested who were simply covering protests in Minnesota.
Absolutely.
Georgia Fort, Don Lemon, have been arrested because of that. Both of whom have said they will not stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's been as it's still unfolding, and we are at the front row view of history today. As it literally every day is a new part of the story. It ties in and because I think we're all of the age group. It's one of the things I'm going to be bringing to the events. It's something I just picked up. Um, Professor, you must have seen this kind of thing in the back in the day.
Oh, absolutely.
This is from Berkeley, California,
All right.
the heartbeat of a movement back in the 60s. This is Haight-Ashbury newspaper, an original. It's volume one, volume one, number four, really early. I've got two other papers from that period. Inside, it's the Berkeley Barb, another paper from that time. Again, these are the papers that were fueling a whole movement, the anti-war movement, the hippie movement was a big deal out there. And then I got a Los Angeles Free Press. So these are the records we have today of that time period. And where there are records being created today of what's happening in our world as we speak.
And in Atlanta, we would go down to 14th Street to get copies of The Great Speckled Bird.
Yeah.
During that era. I probably still have some of those.
Yeah. So it's so this, I mean, I'm proud as a bookseller to be part of a collegiate group of persons who support freedom, who support free press, who support free speech, and we've got to. This is the time to stand up. I don't think there's ever been a more serious time in which what we do is in our trade is as important as it's ever been.
Right. And I'll just throw this out here. You call me professor. I was an educator in a small private school, and I became the headmaster. And that really led me into becoming a book dealer, because as being in charge of the school, I cared about knowledge and cared about books. And it was a small rural place in the Florida Keys. And I began buying and selling books for our library and for our English department. And because we had limited funds, began buying and selling online some of the early marketplaces. And then people saw I cared about books, so they started giving us books, which they didn't really fit our what we needed. So I began selling them to raise money to buy the books that we really did want for the school. And so when I retired, it was just, well, I like doing this. And one thing led to another, and I'm still doing it.
So if you were down on the Keys, I assume that you and Hemingway had some kind of connection at some point.
I wish we did. I did buy many years ago a pretty cool collection of Hemingway books, and there was some material that was not for sale that I really wish I could have bought. I was buying it from the man had passed away, and from his widow, but he had two things to do with Hemingway. He was runner-up 3 times in Key West in the Hemingway lookalike contest they have during Hemingway days. And he and his wife actually several times had drinks with Hemingway. I forget in which town in Spain. And they had photographs and some other materials of themselves and Hemingway, and some of them were signed, but those were not for sale. And it's one of those things you lust for, but she did have a large Hemingway book collection that I bought many, many years ago and sold many, many years ago.
Yeah.
But
A moment I'm sure to remember in the trade.
Yeah.
yeah,
At least you could go drink in some of the same bars.
you can.
Yes.
Well,
Sloppy Joe's is still there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what else have we got to bring to these fairs?
Well, this is the book here. It's called A Calendar. Well, let me back up. One of the things that I've just acquired and just been listing is a group of books from Harrison of Paris, which was a press in the 1930s of some what we sometimes call the lost generation. They were expats, and Monroe Wheeler was the designer of the press. Some might know Monroe Wheeler's name from MoMA, the Museum of Modern Art in New York City. He was their designer of their exhibitions for many years. And this press is kind of where he started. And this book, let me see if I can turn to a title page. It's called A Calendar of Saints. And it's a sort of tongue-in-cheek calendar of saints that goes through the saints that are not ones you might have ever heard of before and written about them, but the inscription is very special. Are we able to see that there?
Can't quite read it. But
Oh,
Okay.
to Edith Sidwell. My goodness.
And if you see that this book is not for
Yeah.
sale, it was out of sequence, and it shows the connection between the literary circle there and one of the Titans, a very interesting person. She was, as I understand, she was over 6 feet tall. She wore these gowns, and her two brothers, Oswald, oh, I don't remember, and the other brother had a name that's just long, but they were important people in that community. And then it comes back to the United States, and the design that is now just standard for modern art, the sleek, in museums. And this started with his press. Here's another one in a beautiful clamshell. Let's see if we can get some of that up there.
nice work.
Very nice.
The press only produced 13 books.
Over what period of time do you know?
1930s.
Mm-hmm.
But
And how many of those 13 do you have?
I had almost a complete collection. I've sold quite a few. I think I had 9 left. Some of them were duplicates. Some of the 13 titles were produced in a vellum edition, in a maybe 3 editions of 75 or 100. So I had probably all of the titles, but not all of the editions. But this one, well, upside down, but I don't know if you can even see the
Oh yeah,
detail
the hand stitch.
just, and this is all the pages are Imperial Japanese vellum, and signed by Thomas Mann right after he won the Pulitzer Prize. And this was the book, but it's a private press edition that was made by the Wheeler Press. Richard, something from the New England. I have a really nice book from the Riverside Press. Bruce Rogers was the book designer. I don't know if you hold it.
Yeah. Oh, I can read that. Nice. Yeah. Beautiful.
Just a beautiful
Top
book.
edge gilt.
Just perfect there. It has protected the book. And Bruce Rogers was a designer par excellence. You can see the topography put into this. And this book was also bound at the Old Corner Bookstore in Boston.
A landmark. A landmark.
Well, yeah, it was a haunt of Emerson and Thoreau. And this book, oh, it's from 1903. It's like buying a piece of literary history that is still continuing. And I mean, there's a minor little bit of shelf wear, but the bindings are tight, it's clean, the silk ribbons there, just a gorgeous book of our past. And I think it brings in the theme of the Florida Fair. Let freedom ring, let freedom read. Went to a different theme. But these books bring the past to the present, and the theme is there's essays about leisurely reading, some beautiful prose of the topic. So that's something I'm excited about. First bringing to Atlanta, and perhaps it'll still be here.
We'll see if the collectors in Atlanta have the taste that will outpace the collectors in Florida.
Right.
Well, when I was going through things yesterday, I found this little booklet. It was done for the sesquicentennial 100 years ago, and it is things to do to celebrate the sesquicentennial. A date by date chronology of the revolution, plays and essays and things like that could be used to for programs to celebrate, list of sites in the 13 colonies that would be historical sites, a list of a huge bibliography, a list of 25 important people from the revolution, and actually could be used today to celebrate the 250th as well.
Yeah, wonderful.
So that was, it was just an inexpensive little piece, but interesting, I thought.
Well, it doesn't have to be expensive.
Right.
Just interesting.
Right.
So I'm going to give you guys a test. Do you know the name Laura Bancroft?
Yeah.
Okay. So you know who Laura Bancroft is?
I didn't know there was going to be a quiz today.
Yes.
No, we didn't.
I know she's a children's author.
Children's author, actually big author.
Not winning the Willows.
Oh gosh, I can't think who those characters are.
It has a Denslow look. Does that help you?
Yeah.
Richard, I think you better just tell us.
Okay.
Yes, please do.
We could be here all day.
L. Frank Baum, Wizard of Oz.
Okay.
So this is actually one of the scarcest Baum pseudonyms, Laura Bancroft, and this will be coming to the fairs. It's the first time I've actually had this specific title. I've had other Laura Bancroft over the years, but this one is a real treasure, a real treat. And I owe my friend in Denver a thank you.
What is the title? It was a little dark. I couldn't see.
It's called Prairie Dogtown.
Prairie Dogtown.
Huh.
Yeah.
Oh, gorgeous. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, so that
Prairie Dogtown.
and it's actually it's illustrated by Enright. Actually, I guess it's Maginal Wright Enright is her full name here. But this sweet little piece.
Okay.
Nice.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Thank you, Richard and Professor Richard. And Rare Book Cafe, the Coffee Break Edition, is brought to you through the Florida Antiquarian Book Fair, which will be taking place the first full weekend in March. And we'll look forward to seeing a lot of you both there and at the Atlanta show coming up.
The week before.
Huh?
The week before Florida.
That's right. We're going to have a busy week between March the 1st and March the 7th when we get to Florida.
I
Thank
think
you
this
for
could
joining
be
us, and we'll see you next time.
What are you going to say, Richard?
Oh, this could be a spring break for book buyers.
It could
Atlanta, and come on down with us to St. Petersburg. It just
That's
sounds like
true.
the right thing to do. Leave that winter behind.
Yep. And I'm looking
Well,
forward to being.
I'm not sure you'll leave it behind in Georgia. We've had 17-degree weather this past week, but it was 64 yesterday.
We'll
Well,
bring
that's
some
wonderful.
warmth with us.
So we'll
That's
see.
right. Well, Richard and I will come up 95 together and warm
Okay,
everything up.
we'll look forward to that. Okay. So bye-bye, everyone. See you next
Take
time.
care. Bye-bye.
Whenever the people are well informed, they can be trusted with their own government. That whenever things get so far wrong as to attract their notice, they may be relied on to set them to rights. Jefferson believed that trust rested on understanding. Knowledge sharpened judgment, disciplined passion, and prepared citizens to recognize both liberty and its limits. Books were where that understanding was formed, and where self-government learned how to endure. Discover rare and remarkable books at the Florida Antiquarian Book Fair, March 7th and 8th, 2026, St. Petersburg. Let freedom read.